עכשיו הסיבה היחידה שמדינת ישראל החליטה לפתוח את האזור הצבאי זה שהירדנים שיפרו ופתחו את האזור שלהם, שזה ידוע בתור בריטניה של הירדן.
Touring the Judean desert is one of the real highlights of a visit to the Holy Land. Crossing the wilderness is a network of modern highways which speed the tour buses with little delay from one ancient religious site to the next. But even pilgrims have to eat. A lunch stop is a chance for the Ethiopians to draw breath and reflect on the spiritual sustenance they've gained. Almaz Zabia Yosef, a mother of 15 children, is in her 80s, and she experiences this desert journey in a special way. She's blind.
እግዚአብሔር የተቀበረበትን ላመሰግነው የሰጠኝን ፍሬዎቼን በጸጋ ስላሳደገልኝ ሳይታመሙ ሆስፒታል ሳይሆኑ እዚያ ያደረሰልኝን አምላክ ላመሰግነው። አሁንም እግዚአብሔር ብርሃኔን ይሰጠኛል ብዬ ሁልጊዜ ሰዎች ሲጠይቁን ከእግዚአብሔር ተስፋዬን አልቆርጥም። አሁንም ታምሩን ያሳየኛል፣ ያበራኛል።
This afternoon, another mode of transport and another high point for the pilgrims. This cable car on the outskirts of Jericho takes visitors to a desert peak which stands 350 meters above sea level. This is the Mount of Temptation, said to be the very spot where the devil confronted Jesus.
Thou shalt not be tempted to do jewelry. You're climbing Mount Temptation. So no temptation. Sunny side up.
While Christ fasted for 40 days, the devil tempted him to use his supernatural powers for selfish ends. One temptation was to satisfy his hunger by turning the stones of the desert into bread. Early Christian pilgrims searched for the place where Jesus overcame the devil's wiles. It was Queen Helena of Constantinople who, in the year 326, is supposed to have identified this as the location. Ever since, hermits have come to follow Jesus' example and live lives of extreme simplicity in caves on the mountain. In the 6th century, a Greek Orthodox monastery was built over the cave which is thought to have sheltered Christ for 40 nights. A pilgrimage here is meant to be a lesson in what the desert can do for the spirit. But modern tourism can sometimes feel more like a shopping trip. Those who believe that this is where Jesus fasted are now tempted to eat and drink. Dawn above the Dead Sea. Despite temperatures that exceed 40 degrees Celsius, it's a mecca for adventurers looking to scale the cliffs. And where you have climbers, you need rescuers. Today, the Megillot Search and Rescue Team are preparing to plug 2 new volunteers. After weeks of training, this is the first chance for them to see if they're desert ready.
סיימנו קורס הכשרה של חילוץ בחבלים לפני 3 שבועות, וזה האימון הגדול הראשון במסגרת היחידה שאנחנו עושים מאז.
In charge is Mike Ott. As deputy head of the unit, it's his job to set the challenge and monitor the team's performance. From the moment the exercise begins, it's a race against the clock. The experienced volunteers are putting their own lives at risk, testing the rope skills of the rookies. Every knot and every belay has to be perfect. For trainee Yonu Shaina, it's an adrenaline rush.
יש אלמנט של פחד בעבודה, וזה אלמנט חשוב, כי מי שלא מפחד כנראה לא מבין את העבודה שהוא עושה.
For fellow newcomer Karima Oridershtik, there's also a lot to play for. A nurse in real life, today she must navigate a steep descent to reach her patients.
באותו רגע שאת נמצאת בתוך פעילות, חלק הבטיחותי הוא בכלל בצד, אתה עסוק בלהציל חיים.
For Karima, saving lives is a family affair.
והאמת היא שמי שהתחיל ביחידה זה הבן שלי, שהוא היה הראשון שהתחיל להיות ביחידה כשהיה מאוד צעיר, בן 16-17, ואחר כך בעלי התחיל להתנדב, ואז גם אני, ויש פעמים שאנחנו כולנו מתנדבים ביחד בתוך היחידה.
As deserts go, the Judaean is small, but deadly. Particularly to the thousands of people who venture here unprepared. Part of the problem is that this desert is so easily accessible. City dwellers can get here in a matter of minutes. It leaves them no time to adjust to the environment, as team leader Mike Ott knows only too well.
אני חושב שרוב החילוצים הם נובעים מאנשים שהם פשוט לא מבינים את המדבר. הם לא מבינים, הם לא עושים בדיקה לאן הם הולכים.
Just a week ago, this team worked all night to rescue a group of hikers lost and suffering from exhaustion and dehydration deep in the desert. But it's not just the lack of water people need to be prepared for. Sometimes, and without warning, there's water everywhere. During the springtime flash floods, torrents of rainwater flow from the Judean mountains through the valleys of the desert. The rocky limestone terrain cannot absorb the water, and it collects in deep, fast-flowing gullies. Thrill seekers who come to experience the drama are sometimes caught in the deluge.
והם לא יודעים שצריך לקחת חבלים, הם לא יודעים שהם צריכים לשחות, וכאלה שיוצאים לא יודעים לשחות.
מוטי! למה זה מתעכב?
When it comes to saving lives in the desert, Mike knows every second counts. A lesson these new recruits are learning fast. Once they reach their patient, they must act quickly to administer emergency treatment. The sooner they stabilize him, the sooner they can winch him to safety. That is, if the ropes hold. But they mustn't get ahead of themselves. As Mike knows, the most serious injuries happen to those who take the desert for granted.
אם לא נצמדים, לא נתפסים, לא קושרים כמו שצריך, אז אנשים נופלים, וזה הטעויות הגדולות יותר. אלה שהם מטיילים מאוד ותיקים ויודעים לטייל, אבל הם שוכחים שהמדבר גדול עליהם, שהם לא יכולים לעשות מה שהם רוצים, ושגרביטציה עובדת.
Finally, Mike gives the nod. The new volunteers have passed. Now they're fully part of this team and its sacred mission, to be ready to lay down their lives for strangers in distress. But there are some people who instinctively know how to survive in the Judean desert. When the dust storms come, the Bedouin know how to see them out. Since